Jim couldn't hear me when I started this hour because I was tweeting and not talking to you guys. And what I was tweeting was this. I'll read you my tweet. One of the most compelling reasons to vote for Trump is that whoever is president will oversee the 250th celebration of our founding, and the left, if they're in charge, would do some woke nonsense. You know it. You know it. If Kamala Harris or Joe Biden is president of the United States in 2 years, for the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States of America, they would have drag queens and lectures about the evils of this country. They would do some national day of repentance at the National Cathedral with some woke female Episcopalian bishop decrying the sins of the United States. That is enough, I think, to get some people, if they know that, to vote for Donald Trump. I want to talk about this issue, and I want to read for you something, and then I need you to hear what I need to say, but you're going to hear me first read something very familiar. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separation and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers incapable of annihilation have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the populations of these states for that purpose, obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their office and the amounts and payments of their salaries. He's erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat our substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. He's affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed soldiers among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders that they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, etc., etc. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of these people. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that a free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other's our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. The Declaration of Independence. For sake of time, I skipped some portions of it. Rarely do you have it read these days. We just assume. So I want to say something. Our founders were far smarter than a lot of people today. They were flawed men. They were far smarter than a lot of the people we have today. Many of them then went on to structure the Constitution of the United States, and almost all of them played a part. Some of them lost their lives. Some of them lost their homes. Some of them lost their families. There's been real revision by the political left to try to make it sound not as bad as it was for them. It was bad. Some of them ran for their lives, feared for their lives, died of despair, depression, and bankruptcy. But they prevailed. And they formed a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition of ideas. We are not a blood and soil nation, though there are dangerously so some people on the right now who claim that we are. Our founders, that was not so. Our founders, we were founded on an ideal and an idea. Anyone can become an American. The left has tried on their own side to pervert it by claiming that you can come here and not have to assimilate into American culture, which is as wrong as claiming we're a blood and soil nation. But the bottom line is this: we are the best nation. We're not the best nation because we're here and we're patriots and we say it. We're the best nation by virtue of being who we are, a nation founded on an ideal, not on blood and soil, that anyone can come here and become American and embrace our ideals and contribute to it so that now the taco is American as the hamburger. And we will get through these times. What's happening to us right now in a 24-hour news cycle is uncomfortable. It is historic. It has echoes of history, but not precision in history. But our republic is stronger than Donald Trump, and our republic is stronger than Joe Biden. When either side says our democracy is under attack and doomed if this person or that gets elected, they are the people betting against America. They are the people who have a small mind of what this country can be. And frankly, those are the people you shouldn't listen to and the people you shouldn't put in charge, because those are the ones who have a vision that if we are not in charge, America is over, and America is bigger than any of them. America is bigger than you. America is bigger than me. America is an idea that all men are created equal and they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And how do we reflect it? We're the only nation with the First Amendment. We're the only nation with the Second Amendment. We are the only nation with a binding constitution that guarantees our rights and liberties. Our revolution was the first and probably one of the only conservative revolutions, where our founders believed they were Englishmen entitled to the rights of the glorious revolution. The British Crown had denied them the rights they thought they had because their grandfathers had fought in the glorious revolution, and they decided they had to upend their being in government in order to get not something new, but something very old, the rights endowed by our Creator. This wasn't the French Revolution to throw off the old and bring something new and shiny and radical. It was a conservative revolution to embrace something old and tried and true, the British rights of the Glorious Revolution. In fact, in the litany of offenses, so many of them relate to violations of the English Bill of Rights that we then got back. Our nation is bigger than any one of us, bigger than any man, and bigger than any politician. And anyone on either side says our republic will not survive if this person gets elected is someone who has a small vision of America and should not be trusted with power. We are Americans, and however divided we may be, all of us collectively are still the best nation. And you should remind yourself of that. And when your first reaction to me saying it is to go to a grievance you have against the other side, you are part of the problem. We're Americans. Suck it up, look forward, move forward, and we will be great.